Stories for Sarah, Part 1. So this is the story of the Good Samaritan. It's especially relevant to me right now as we are taking care of this man that we met that's a complete stranger, and I'm about to go to the hospital to visit him. So it's out of Luke 10, and there was an expert of the law that tried to test Jesus, and he said, well, how do you get eternal life? And Jesus said to him, well, what do you know from the law? And the man said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. But the religious man, he wanted to know, like, well, Jesus, who is basically my neighbor? Like, who is technically the one I need to love? And then Jesus began to tell him this story. There was a man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho, and you'd know that road or that way, because we went from Jerusalem to the Dead Sea, and that's the same. Jericho is right near the Dead Sea. So this man is traveling along, and he comes upon some robbers, and the robbers tell him, they take all his clothes, and they beat him, and they take all of his money. And they leave him half dead. And so there he is on the road, and this priest walks by, and he goes on the other side of the road so he doesn't have to walk close to him. And then a Levite, which would be like another religious leader, did the same thing. He saw the man, and then he goes on the other side of the road. But then the Samaritan, and you know the Samaritan story that I told you last time, the Samaritans were, for the Jewish people, I mean, they were just like outcast, and they didn't really like them. And so this outcast, per se, stops by and sees this man. And he took pity on him, and he went to him and bandaged his wounds, and he poured oil and wine on this man. And he put him on his own donkey, and he took him to an inn and took care of him. And for the next day, he took out 2 silver coins, and he gave it to the innkeeper, and he said, look after him, look after this man, and when I return, I will reimburse you for everything. And so Jesus asked the religious leader that tried to test him, he said, who do you think was a neighbor to the man? And the expert in the law said, the one who had mercy on him. And Jesus said, go and do likewise.